Jace Morgan had always loved the stars. Since he was a child on Earth, he would lie on the grass at night and dream about flying among them. Now, as a young cargo pilot, that dream had come true. He delivered supplies between space stations and small colonies in distant sectors. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it gave him peace. Alone in his small ship with only stars around him, he felt free, but today was different. Jace was on his way back from a station near Saturn when the warning lights flashed red. Sudden, unexpected meteor shower had entered his route. Small rocks pounded the hull, and alarms screamed in his ears. He tried to steer away, but the meteors came fast and hard. Within seconds, a sharp crash shook the ship. Sparks flew. Systems failed. The main engine died. No. Jace shouted, hitting buttons that didn't respond. His ship spun slowly, floating helplessly through space. He sent out a distress call, hoping someone would hear him. But no answer came. Inside the broken ship, Jace's breathing grew heavy. Oxygen levels dropped. Lights flickered. The cold of space crept into the room. He pulled his jacket tighter, his hands shaking not just from the cold, but from fear. He was completely alone. The ship was dying, and so was he. Minutes passed. Then more. Still no rescue. He sat against the wall, eyes half closed, whispering to himself, "So, this is how it ends?" But just as the darkness began to take over, a soft hum filled the silence. Through the cracked window, he saw something beautiful. A silver, curved vessel approached, glowing faint blue under the stars. It wasn't Earth-made. It was smooth, elegant, and moved like it was alive. Jace blinked, unsure if he was dreaming. But the ship stopped near his own. A beam of soft light shone through his hull, and then everything went black. When Jace opened his eyes again, he wasn't in his ship. He was lying on a warm, soft surface. The air smelled clean and sweet. The walls were smooth and glowed faintly. He tried to sit up, but a gentle hand touched his shoulder. "Don't move yet," a calm voice said. JC turned his head. Standing beside him was a tall figure, slim, graceful, and with pale silver skin. Her eyes were deep violet, and her face was calm, almost glowing. "I'm Sira," she said softly. "You were dying. I brought you here." He blinked at her. "You saved me," she nodded. "Yes, you are safe now." Jace didn't know what to say. He'd never seen an alien before, at least not like this. Earth had received signals from other species, and there were rumors of secret meetings, but this was real. "Why did you help me?" he asked, his voice low. Sira looked at him for a long moment before answering, because no one else did. Silence filled the room. Jace stared at her, still weak, still confused. He didn't understand her, or what she wanted, but one thing was clear: he was alive because of her. As he rested on the soft bed inside her ship, he couldn't stop staring at her. She moved like the stars, quiet, calm, mysterious. And though he didn't know her, something about her made him feel safe. For the first time in hours, Jace allowed himself to breathe deeply. His life had almost ended out there, among the cold stars. But instead, it had just taken a strange and unexpected turn. Jace woke slowly, his eyes adjusting to the soft blue glow of the alien room. For a moment, he forgot where he was. The warmth, the quiet hum of energy, didn't feel like his broken ship. Then he saw her. Sira stood by a smooth panel, her hands moving gently across glowing symbols. She turned and smiled when she noticed him awake. "You're healing well," she said softly. Jace sat up with effort. His muscles ached, but the pain was fading. He looked around again. The walls were smooth and curved. The bed beneath him seemed to form around his shape, comforting and soft. Everything was clean and quiet, like the ship itself was alive. "This is your ship?" he asked. Sira nodded. "Yes, I call it Leuven. It means peaceful path in my language." Jace leaned back and let out a slow breath. "Could have used some peace earlier. Thank you for saving me." "You're welcome," Sira replied. Voice was calm, like water flowing in a stream. A long silence passed between them. Jace didn't know what to say. He'd never spoken to an alien before, not like this, not face to face. And yet there she was, so calm, so kind, so different. He looked at her again. Yeah, she wasn't human, but she wasn't scary either. Eyes were large and violet, glowing faintly. Her hair was like silver threads, long and flowing, and her skin shimmered softly under the lights. "Do you always rescue strangers floating in space?" he asked, trying to break the silence. She smiled slightly. "No, but I was nearby.
Oh.
And I heard your distress signal." No one else answered.
Days.
Felt a strange mix of emotions, grateful, confused, and a little embarrassed. "So, what now?" he asked. "Are you taking me back to Earth?" Sierra's smile faded a little. "Da." She sat down across from him. "That may not be safe," she said, quietly. "Your planet is under quiet observation by several species, including mine. We were told not to interfere." Jace frowned. "Observation? What does that mean?" "Watching, studying, judging," she answered. "Many believe humans are unstable, dangerous. But I don't agree." Jace's face grew serious. "We're not perfect, but we're not monsters either." "I know," she said gently. "That's why I helped you." Jace felt a knot in his chest. The idea of aliens watching Earth, deciding if humans were worth trusting it, made him angry. But at the same time, he looked at Sierra and saw no hatred, only curiosity, only kindness. As they sat in silence again, Jace noticed something odd. Despite everything being rescued, being in a strange ship, talking to a being from another world, he didn't feel scared. He felt calm. He looked at her hands. They were long and delicate, glowing faintly with soft energy. "What are you?" "Exactly a pilot?" She nodded. "A pilot and a healer. I study the balance of life, how to protect it, how to restore it." "No offense," Jace said, "but your people seem more advanced than us. Why would you even care about someone like me?" Sierra tilted her head slightly. "Because you called out. And your voice was full of fear, but also full of hope." That sentence hit Jace like a quiet wave. His throat tightened, and he didn't know why. Maybe because no one had ever really said something like that to him before. He looked away. "Well, thanks for caring." "You're welcome," she said again. Later, she brought him something to eat. The food looked strange, like glowing fruit and blue bread, but it tasted fresh and sweet. They laughed when he tried to eat with her utensils and made a mess. "You humans are clumsy," she teased, smiling, "and you aliens are weird." Jace replied with a grin. They sat together in the quiet of the ship, floating gently through space, strangers in the same space. But something had changed. Jace didn't know where they were going. He didn't know why Sierra had really saved him. But as he looked at her, he felt something unexpected in his heart. Jace sat near the wide window of Sierra's ship, staring at the stars outside. The universe looked so peaceful from here, teeny lights shining in the endless dark. But inside his heart, questions were growing louder each day. It had been 2 days. Since Sierra rescued him, she gave him food, rest, and safety. But she also gave him silence. She didn't talk much about herself, why she was near Earth. The more he learned about her ship and her skills, the more he realized she wasn't just any traveler. He wanted answers. "Sierra," he asked one evening as they floated quietly through space, "why were you really near Earth?" Sierra didn't speak right away. She stood by the glowing control panel, her eyes focused on the stars. Then she turned slowly to him. "I was tracking a signal," she said softly, "a strange energy pattern from your planet. Something new, something powerful." Jace blinked. "You mean from Earth?" She nodded. "Yes. Our council believes humans have started using a new kind of energy, and dangerous. They fear it might harm nearby systems." Jace frowned. "Don't have anything like that. At least not that I know of." Sierra sat across from him, her hands folded in her lap. "That's why I came. To see for myself. And then I found you." Leaned forward. "So you weren't just exploring, you were spying." Sierra's face showed no anger, only calm. "It's not spying. Watching, observing, hoping to understand." Jace looked away. He felt a wave of frustration. So we're just some science project to you? No, she said quickly. You are more than that. He looked back at her. Then why not talk to us? Why not help us instead of hiding in the shadows? Sierra's eyes were full of sadness, because not all humans would welcome us. Not all Laree believe in peace. There was silence between them. Jace wanted to argue, but deep inside he knew she was right. Even on Earth, people were afraid of things they didn't understand. But then he looked at her, this gentle, kind alien who risked her own safety to save him, and he realized something. She didn't have to rescue him. She didn't have to speak to him kindly, or share food, or let him stay. Yet she did. You're different from what I expected, he said softly. Sierra smiled. And you're different from what I was told. They both laughed quietly. It was the first time Jace felt something light in his chest since the crash. A small spark of joy. That night he couldn't sleep. He walked around the glowing halls of her ship, touching the smooth walls, thinking about everything. When he passed the control room, he saw her, sitting there alone. She was humming soft, strange music that echoed gently through the room. Her head rested on her hand and her eyes were closed. Jace didn't want to disturb her, but something pulled him forward. You okay? He asked. Sierra looked up, surprised. But not upset. Yes. Just thinking. About what? She looked out at the stars, about how two people from different worlds can feel the same things: fear, loneliness, wonder. Jace sat down beside her. Yeah, I've been thinking that too. He looked at her face, the way the lights reflected in her violet eyes. She was so different. But she didn't feel like a stranger anymore. He took a deep breath. When I was floating out there, I thought I was going to die. But then you showed up. You didn't just save my body, Sierra. You saved something in me. Sierra turned to him, her voice soft. Saved something in me too. They sat side by side in the silence of space. Two souls from two worlds, slowly, beginning to understand each other, and though neither of them said the word, both of them felt it, a quiet connection, a beginning of something they never expected. The days passed slowly, like drifting clouds in space. Jace and Sierra had no clear destination. Her ship floated gently across quiet stars, far from any planet or station. For the first time in his life, Jace wasn't following a schedule. Wasn't thinking about deliveries, routes, or Earth's noisy demands. He was just existing, and he wasn't alone. Sierra moved gracefully through her ship, always calm, always quiet. Jace watched how she treated every part of the vessel like it was alive. She touched the panels with care, spoke softly to the ship's systems, and even hummed while preparing meals. Jace offered to help, even though he didn't know how anything worked. I'll probably break something, he joked. She smiled. Then we fix it together. That simple sentence made him feel warm. They landed on a small abandoned moon to collect energy crystals. The surface was dusty and gray, but the air was safe enough to breathe with simple masks. As they walked side by side, collecting glowing blue stones, Jace asked, Have you ever had someone travel with you like this? Sierra shook her head. Never. I've always traveled alone. Do you like it that way? She paused before answering. I used to think I did, but now I'm not sure. They sat on a smooth rock, the stars shining above them. Jace held a small glowing crystal in his hands, turning it slowly. I lost my parents when I was young, he said softly. They were on a research ship. Something went wrong. No one came to help them. Sierra looked at him with gentle eyes. I'm sorry. He nodded. I guess I became a pilot to be closer to them, or to prove I could survive like they did. You have survived, she said. More than once. Jace smiled faintly. Yeah, thanks to you. Then he asked her, What about you? Why? Are you always alone? Sierra looked up at the stars, her voice distant. Because I was different. My people follow rules, traditions, but I asked too many questions. I wanted to see things for myself. That made me unwelcome. So you ran? Jace asked gently. I left, she corrected. But yes, I ran from silence. They sat in quiet for a while. Then, without thinking too much, Jace reached out and held her hand. Her fingers were warm and soft, glowing faintly under the starlight. "I'm glad you left," he whispered. Sira didn't pull away. Instead, she closed her eyes and whispered back, "Me too." That night, back on the ship, they shared a quiet meal. Sira showed Jace how to use the translator crystals to sing Elari songs. He didn't understand the words, but the melodies were soft and beautiful. Jace closed his eyes and let the sound fill his chest like warm sunlight. Then a sudden alert broke the moment. A soft beep pulsed from the control panel. Sira stood quickly and walked over. Jace followed. "It's a signal," she said. "The Elari fleet. They found me." Jace's heart dropped. "What do they want?" "They're asking me to return," Sira said. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. "Will they hurt you?" She shook her head. "Not if I obey, but they don't know about you." Jace felt cold. "Then maybe I should leave." Sira turned sharply. "No." He blinked. "You don't have to choose me over your people." She looked into his eyes. "I'm not choosing between people. I'm choosing between fear and freedom." Jace's voice was low. "What do you want to do?" Sira took a deep breath. "Just a little longer with you." Jace nodded. "Then let's go." They jumped into the pilot seats and guided the ship into the stars once more. No plan, no destination, just each other. As the stars stretched around them, Jace looked at her and smiled. "We may not know where we're going," he said, "but for the first time in my life, I don't feel lost." Sira smiled back. "Neither do I." The stars outside the window looked peaceful, but inside the ship, everything had changed. Sira stood near the communication panel, her face quiet but tense. The message from her people had come again, more direct this time. Her fleet wanted her back. They promised safety, forgiveness, and a return to her old life. But there was a condition. She had to bring the human with her. Jace stood on the other side of the room, watching her closely. He didn't need a translator to understand what was happening. He could see the weight in her eyes. The choice was clear, her people or him. "You should go," Jace said softly. "It's okay." Sira looked up, surprised. "What?" Walked toward her slowly. "I don't want to be the reason you lose everything. Your home, your name, your future." Sira shook her head. "My home never welcomed me. My name means little without meaning behind it. And my future," she paused, "I don't want it without you in it." Jace felt a tightness in his chest. He didn't want to cry, but her words hit deep. "You don't have to say that." "I'm not saying it to make you stay," she whispered. "I'm saying it because it's true." For a long time, neither of them spoke. The soft hum of the ship was the only sound. Then Sira stepped closer. "You don't belong to them, Jace, but neither do I. Maybe we belong. Somewhere else, together." Jace looked down. "Even if we run, they'll keep looking." "Your people won't stop, I know," she said. "But I'd rather run toward freedom than walk back into a cage." Her voice was calm, but her fingers curled slightly, showing the fear she tried to hide. Jace reached out and took her hand. "Then let's run. One more time." They activated the ship's cloaking systems and launched into the dark of space, avoiding the main paths, slipping between uncharted systems. No destination, just movement, just escape. As the stars blurred around them, Jace sat beside her in the cockpit. He watched her fingers glide across the controls with quiet grace. "I wish I could fly like you," he said. Sira smiled. "I wish I could feel like you." "What do you mean?" She looked at him. "Humans. You love with your whole heart, even when it hurts, even when it's risky. My people have forgotten that." Jace chuckled. "Not always easy." "No," she said gently, "but it's beautiful." They landed on a soft green planet with floating lakes and glowing plants, a hidden world Sira once visited during training, a place forgotten by time. There under the glowing sky, they made a small camp near the water. They ate together, laughed, at each other's cooking attempts, and talked about things they never shared before: childhood dreams, quiet fears, moments of joy. One night, while watching the twin moons rise, Jace looked at her and said, "I never expected this. I didn't believe in fate or magic or anything like this." Syrah turned toward him, her voice barely a whisper. "What do you believe in now?" Jace hesitated. Then he looked into her eyes. "I believe you didn't just save my life. Gave it purpose." Her eyes shimmered with light. She reached out and touched his face gently. "You gave mine something it never had freedom to feel." They leaned into each other, slowly, carefully, and under the twin moons they shared their first soft kiss, not out of need, but out of something deeper, something real. They knew the galaxy wouldn't forget them. The fleets might return. The silence wouldn't last forever. But in that moment, nothing else mattered. Not fear, not duty, not distance. Only the quiet truth in both their hearts. They had found each other. And neither of them was letting go. Life on the hidden planet was slow and quiet. The air was sweet. The lakes shimmered in soft colors, and every evening felt like a dream. Jace and Syrah had no mission, no orders, no destination. Only to command each other, they built a small home. Beside a silver lake, was made of natural stone and curved wood, with a roof that let them see the stars at night. Syrah shaped the walls using her tools. Jace handled the basics: fire, cooking, and laughter. "This place feels like something out of a story," Jace said one morning. Sitting on the edge of the water, sat beside him, her feet in the glowing water. "Maybe we're writing our own story now." Jace smiled. "Strange one. A human and an alien, hiding in the middle of nowhere." "Not strange," Syrah said gently. "Beautiful." No? They filled their days with learning from each other. Jace taught Syrah how to make Earth-style bread using local fruits. She found it messy, but fun. She showed him how to meditate the Alari way, using sound crystals that floated gently in the air. He kept falling asleep during the process, making her laugh. "Your mind is always racing," she teased. "I'm human," he replied. "We worry too much." But slowly that worry faded. Jace no longer thought about Earth's busy cities or cold starships. He no longer felt alone. Every morning he woke up with peace. Every night he looked at Syrah and felt something he never thought he would: home. One afternoon, visitors came. They weren't Alari or human, or small, gentle beings with soft skin and glowing eyes. They floated more than walked and spoke with musical tones. Syrah greeted them in their language. "They're the Varu," she explained later. "This planet was sacred to their ancestors. They don't live here now, but they return sometimes to feel its spirit." The Varu were kind. They brought floating flowers and strange fruits as gifts. They called Jace and Syrah the Harmony pair. "They think we're something special," Jace whispered. Syrah smiled. "Maybe we are." That evening, Jace sat outside, watching the stars appear. Syrah joined him and leaned against his shoulder. "Do you miss your world?" she asked. He thought for a moment. "Sometimes. I miss the feeling of knowing where I belong. But now, I feel like I'm building something new." "With me?" she asked softly. He looked at her. "Yes, with you." Syrah took his hand and placed it over her heart. "You taught me something my people forgot: to feel without fear, to care without condition." Jace whispered, "And you taught me how to be still, to listen, to love, without needing to run." They sat in silence, their fingers entwined, the stars watching over them. But deep down, they knew this peace might not last forever. One night, a soft alarm rang inside Syrah's ship. It was faint but clear. Patrol had entered the system. Alari, or someone else they didn't know. Syrah looked at Jace. "They might find us." He nodded. "Are you scared?" "Yes," she said honestly. "But I'm not running anymore, neither am I," Jace replied. "Not unless we run together." They returned to their small home and prepared quietly. Not with weapons or anger, but with understanding. Whatever came next, they would face it as one. Jace looked around their simple house, filled with laughter, music, and strange little memories. A half-burnt bread loaf, a broken crystal from their first meditation, a drawing of the stars they made together. He turned to Sira. "No matter what happens, I wouldn't change anything." She placed her forehead gently against his. "You are my heart now." And as the sky darkened and the stars blinked above, their love shone brighter than ever. Two souls, two species, but one heartbeat. The sky was quiet. A warm breeze moved over the glowing lake. Birds with shining wings flew above the trees. Everything looked peaceful, but Jace and Sira could feel the change in the air. The patrol ship had passed once, then twice. It had returned again, moving slower this time, scanning they know. Sira whispered, standing near the house they had built with love. Jace stood beside her, silent. He didn't want to lose this life. He didn't want to lose her. "Maybe if I leave," he said quietly, "they'll let you go." Sira turned to him, eyes firm. "Don't say that. We stay together, no matter what." He nodded. He knew she meant it. But part of him still feared that the universe wouldn't allow them to have this happiness. Later that evening, the patrol ship stopped above their planet. A soft message came through the skies, gentle but clear. It wasn't a threat. It was a call. Sira answered it. A hologram of a high Ellery figure appeared inside the ship. The being had eyes like silver clouds and wore robes of light. "Sira of Alari," the voice said, "you have broken contact. We seek your return. We know of the human." Sira stood tall. "I broke no law of life. I followed my heart." Figure looked at her, and at Jace, who stood silently beside her. "This connection you share is not approved," the voice said. Jace felt anger rise in him, but he stayed calm. "Right. Maybe your rules are wrong." There was a pause. Then Sira said something no one expected. "You watched Earth, you judged humans, but you never saw their hearts. This human, he taught me what peace really means. Not silence, not control, but love, real love." The Alari leader remained silent. Sira took a step forward. Her voice shook, but her words were clear. "You said humanity had no heart. You were wrong. He is my heart." Jace looked at her, stunned. Her voice echoed in the ship like a quiet storm. The hologram faded without reply. Hours passed. The ship above them remained still, and quietly it rose and vanished into the stars. No message. No answer, just silence. Jace and Sira looked at each other. Neither of them spoke, but in that silence they understood they were free, truly free. That night they walked hand in hand along the edge of the glowing lake. The twin moons lit the path before them. Jace stopped and turned to her. "When I first saw you," he said, "I thought I was dreaming. I never knew one moment in space would change my whole life." Sira smiled, her eyes full of light. "I never knew that saving one life would save my own heart." They sat on the grass, under the stars. Sira rested her head on Jace's shoulder. He held her close, feeling her warmth, her calm breath. "Sira," he said gently, "you didn't just save me out there in space. You gave me something more." She looked up at him. "What did I give you?" He smiled. "You gave me something to live for. You stole my heart, and I don't want it back." She laughed softly. "Good, because I plan to keep it forever." Kissed, slowly and deeply, the stars watching silently from above. And there, on that quiet world far from war, rules, and fear, they began a new chapter, a life of hope, love, and peace. A human, an alien, but not strangers anymore, just two souls who had found home in each other.